How's it going, guys? It's Mr. Lone Wolf, and today I've got the TUZ-108 Warthog, the location of it, and the two upgrade locations, which is the raised suspension and the active suspension, which is like you can basically go into the menu, the same as where you can go into the menu and turn the beacons on and off. You can raise and lower the suspension. If I'm honest, I'd say it's a little bit of a gimmick, but it is what it is. It's certainly an upgrade you want to grab, get it ticked off the list. So I'm at the Imandra entrance. You don't want to put that in Google. Yeah, follow this first road, cut across the snow, and before you get to like where you can see that lighter little loop, just cut off the road and go to this like frozen lake, because the ice on like the right hand side as we're looking now is all breakable, whereas if you stick to the left you can cut round it. And then as you go a little bit further up, it's at the airport, which is pretty damn near to where the entrance is, all things considered. It's still in like the bottom right hand corner of the map. And yeah, the Warthog's just sat in there at the airport. So I'll go there now to show you. I'll cut a few little bits out though, because just going for this truck, getting this truck is pretty easy. The upgrades are a little bit more of a pain in the arse, and if I left the whole footage in unedited, then you'd be talking like 40 to 60 minutes probably. Yeah, as you go down this road, cut off to the left. To be fair, I probably would have been better off. You can see where there's like an almost invisible road. The snow probably would have been like a bit shallower, so it would have been a little bit quicker, but so I started heading back over there. So right now, at the minute, I've already got the Warthog fully upgraded basically. I believe I've got the raised suspension on it, the full-size chain tyres. I put the better engine in, although I don't believe it made the power to weight go up. But it's a very nice punchy engine anyway. It's got a lot of power to it, so either way it doesn't really bother me. I'm going to put the top engine in just in case. There could be like a bug with the stats it's displaying, but it might actually have more sort of muscle to it in the stats. Yeah, cut across those rocks and you get to the lake. You can see to the right of me there's like breakable ice, and I was coming through here, and I have to say, like, I don't dislike this truck at all. I've had a lot of fun with it so far, and I'm going to review it very soon, hopefully tomorrow. But it can tip over quite easily, which is sort of the same with the TUZ-16. So, of course, sent in a loaf, goddamn horse of a vehicle. That saved me bacon, and we're off again. Yeah, all along like the other side of that rock is all breakable ice. You'll see as I come up here, you can kind of tell where the ice has broke before. Because the twin steer's near it, it's not fully resetting the ice. So you can hear it all cracking there. But yeah, I was able to cut across next to that like big gouge in the ice. Go around past my twin steer. Then cut over here. There is actually a road here. It's like an awkward bounce there. It did exactly the same thing to me with the Tayga. I was turning what I would say with plenty of time to spare, and it kind of just bumps you over and you smash into that truck chassis. Yeah, go over the slabs, like over a cliff I suppose. There's a river running underneath it. These are the bits of the game I still think are just stupid and pointless. It doesn't add any complexity whatsoever. It's just, there's no amount of like decent truck, decent tyres, decent anything gets you over them quicker. The only thing that would probably make a bit of a difference is like the big A's of Antarctic. Because of the size of the wheels, that'd probably just slowly plod through that snow. But yeah, I don't see what they're trying to achieve by just having random patches of super snow that absolutely nail you and make you go half a mile an hour. But apart from that, it's certainly a difficult map, there's no doubt in that. So yeah, take a left after you go through that super snow, and you're basically at the airport now. You can see my colob in the background with the you also find the saddle high flatbed trailer. And then once you got that, you want the first upgrade, which is this one, which is the raised suspension. So from the airport you can see you cut down a little road, kind of double back on yourself. You got to go over a cliff, and then when you get to here, I originally cut down that icy valley and basically did like the longer way round. Like I followed like the bottom of the road right the way round, because I was exploring down that way anyway. But when you get to like this frozen lake bit further up, you may as well just cut over it instead of going round to the right. I'll show you when I'm there. And again, it was not on purpose. I just floored it as I went to go. I did a bit of a drift, hit the snow and rolled. And it was at this point, obviously again, sent in the professional, but I kind of figured, sod it, I'm towing the loaf with me, because once you're in high gear on like this terrain anyway, if it's going to sit in high gear, It doesn't really make a difference if you're towing the loaf or not. Obviously it's a spare winch, spare fuel, spare repairs. The repairs actually come in handy a little bit later as well, so I would honestly recommend it. Even if you don't want to take the loaf, take whatever it is that tickles your fancy, but it's definitely advisable on this map to travel in pairs. Like I was using earlier, the Dolphin and the Voronggrad, I was pretty successful with that. I suppose the Taiga and the Voronggrad, or the Taiga and the Voron AE, or two Taigas, two Dolphins. There's a lot of the good strong trucks are pretty decent on this map, but yeah, if you travel on your own, you are kind of risking it all really. And if you do roll in the middle of nowhere on this map, I completed the first half of the garage mission earlier, and I genuinely rolled the Voronggrad, just hit an awkward rock, tipped over to the side, like mere yards away from the where I need to drop the metal beams off, and it probably took me another hour to bring Bruce all the way from Lake Covd. Yeah, just to tip this I could tip the Voron back up just to put the cargo back in the trailer. So I'm on my way now. This is the pretty cool, to be honest. It's quite a long, narrow, awkward, like ice cliff. You can see. Touch wood, I've not fell down there yet. I've only crossed it twice, I think, or maybe 3 times by now. And yeah, I've not fell off yet. And this bit can be a bit awkward. I've got chained on at the minute, so it's not too bad. But when I went across there in the Taiga, because I had custom muds on, it's just an absolute like black ice. You're not getting any grip whatsoever. Yeah, my advice would be definitely stick to the left as much as you can, even if you're scraping yourself against the rocks a little bit. And go pretty easy with it. I've put it in low range with the diffs on. Just, this thing is pretty punchy, even in the auto gears. I certainly wouldn't go across here in the high gear. But yeah, even in auto, like, once it jumps up a gear, it can be a little bit keen for trying to balance along a cliff edge like this, so I would definitely just put it in low range. And I will say as well, once I added the raised suspension to this and obviously put the bigger tyres on, it does feel like it steers slower, which is a bit of a shame. Again, I know it's a balancing thing with the game, but there is some trucks where you feel like, oh, they made a very nice truck and then they just sort of say, right, now how do we ruin it? How do we balance it somehow? I wouldn't go as far to say it ruins it, but it's definitely a little bit on the slow side, the steering can be. But overall, it's a fun truck. I'm not saying I dislike the truck at all. I've had a pretty good laugh with it so far. And I definitely like the, yeah, just the amount of power, the fact that it feels pretty decent, and it's got some good old horsepower going with it. So yeah, this is like this little frozen lake bit where yesterday, or the day before I suppose now, when I was doing the exploration, I went off to the right because I wasn't sure if I'll be able to get up here. This truck, to be fair, is pretty narrow. It's not really that much wider than a loaf. If anything, that's probably what helps it be a little bit tippy in some situations. I tried squeezing up there, it wouldn't quite have it, so I attached a winch to the tree. As you can see though, as I was going up there, the trollish damage just belted me in the suspension and deleted that. So luckily though, had the loaf with me. That's got a roof rack on it, so I fixed all the suspension. So after you go up that like awkward thing I just went up, take your next left on the road, and again, this just pointless super snow. It's not anything against this truck. I've been through here or other places that are the same in like the Taiga, the Dolphin, the Voronggrad. They're all pretty shocking for it, and yeah, it's just, they've just way overdone it really. And then if you come this way that is shorter, there's quite a steep thing up here, like a pretty steep cliff, but it's also like black ice. And as you can see in the kind of middle right of the screen, it says saving. My advice would be just wait at the bottom of the hill for 30 seconds, a minute or whatever until it says saving, because this is, do it at your own risk. In fact, don't take my word for it, but this is my advice. I started climbing up the hill, and as you can see, I went round a rock, just, that was it, half a second, tipped it too far, but because I quickly saved the footage, turned the game off and back on, just closed application, relaunched the game, it started me at the bottom of this hill again, because the loaf I brought with me hasn't got chained on. So getting up here, it'd just be, to be honest, I already had that plan in my mind that I'd be able to turn the game off, so when it happened it was kind of like I immediately just went for it, and yeah, it served as a pretty good example really. But once you get to the top of that, the car's here at the top, And like I said, this one is the raised suspension, so that'll let you have like the full-size tyres and everything on it. It's a pretty nice view from up here as well. There is a fuel trailer. If you carry on just past this a little bit further up the road, there's a fuel trailer. That's why I've now got basically full fuel. So I'm going to go back down this kind of pretty big icy slope, back to where the loaf was. I got the loaf up that slope further down, but yeah, just to add the repairs to this, now I'm basically going to double back on myself a little bit, but I'll show you where. And I've left a few bits in like this just to show you a bit of gameplay while the video's going and that, but like I said, I'm going to do a proper review and that of this truck, so I won't, there's no point in leaving it all in, because it's just going to be, yeah, 40 to 60 minutes of me driving very slowly through deep snow and all sorts of awkward bits. So this is the route I went. I doubled back on myself a little bit and cut off, now I suppose the way I'm facing, to the left, but it'd be the right from the way I just approached it from. Cut across here. You can see like this massive ice bridge across the water there. I'm kind of heading to that. And I've never been over this before. This was my first attempt at it tonight. Looks pretty cool. Certainly looks like a bit of a centre point of the map. I was lumming an hour and about going up there, but I'm basically just going to cut straight across. These trees look sort of thin enough, but I'll be able to get through, especially in this thing. It's not like a massive clob or something I'm trying to take through there. And honestly, the rest of that path, you can see like the map zoomed out. This upgrade is almost dead on in the middle of the map, really. There's kind of a circle of rocks, there's a church thing or whatever raised up in the middle. The road, the last bit to it, is again just pure super snow most of the way, so it's a bit of a pain, a bit of a slow grind, but yeah, you've only got to do it once. So I'm basically going now back down the little slope that I just pulled my way up a few minutes ago when like I damaged the suspension. There is a lot of ice cracking around here, but I've never actually fell through anything yet, and I've brought, I believe, the dolphins through here as well, so it seems like it's alright. It's just trying to make you nervous. Start hearing braking noises, start panicking. That's what I do. I'm only going to cut ahead about 5 or 10 truck lengths. It's nothing crazy, but again, it was just stupidly slow, so once you get a little bit further ahead, it's like, it's still snowy, but as you can see, there's actual like tyres dug out in the map, and it's like someone's drove down here before. And once it's like that, it goes along really nice. This is another reason why I think it's a bit of a shame they keep putting all these pointless bits of super snowing, because the map's pretty difficult as it is anyway, but going along at this speed feels comfortable. It's not like I'm eating the map up and I'm going to be round it in 5 minutes. And this is just happens to be a relatively nice straight section, so as you can see, I'm still having to like feather the throttle and judge where I'm going to go. I don't want to smash over rocks, hit into trees and all sorts. When you get to that, look, it's the same bit that got me yesterday with the Taiga where I almost flipped it. There's like, the snow, as you can see, dips down a lot to the right. I used one of those trees, winched myself along with it just to make sure I didn't tip. And yeah, we're good to go again. And once you get a little bit further up here, there's kind of a frozen stream cutting across the map. A little bit further ahead, there's actually a roadblock. There's going to be a mission where you'll have to deliver something, I assume, and clear the roadblock. What I'm going to do is just turn and go straight down the frozen river, basically all the way down to the water. When I did my map exploration, I believe this would have been in part 1, I turned left now and cut across there, but yeah, this time I want to go right down to the water's edge because I'm going to cross that ice bridge thing. And there's enough room down here to squeeze your way through. Yeah, that's definitely what she said. Hey, hugging them walls. I don't want to go near that water. So far, I've only lost one truck, well, not lost one, but my Antarctic fell in the water. But there's some slabs on this game that are not quite planted in place, so they kind of glitched to me. I was stuck and then I ended up falling off the side. I'm cutting across here. This is definitely a bit of an awkward section. Fortunately though, because I've got a goddamn horse of a vehicle with me, as you've seen then, when my rear tyres kind of got stuck The loaf has given me a little push. Moral support loaf. See? You ain't got time for that ice. Gives it a slap and we're off. But yeah, I mean, tandem trucks. Every single time I start getting stuck, Loaf gives me a little nudge of encouragement, and we're off. I must admit, it's a pretty cool, pretty difficult ice bridge. So you might think now the Loaf's holding me back, but he's weighing me down. Tactical weight loaf. Everyone's got to have a tactical weight loaf. Yeah, having all these like actual cracks in the road or whatever it is, the surface we're driving along, is pretty cool. Obviously, overall, this thing's a fairly small truck. It's got relatively small tyres. I'm sure if I drove along here, well, I was going to say the Antarctic. The problem is with the Antarctic, and I'll be honest, it's been growing on me. It's still, there's still a lot of things I'm not keen on it about, but it's certainly, every now and then I do enjoy taking it out. But they need the articulated steering to be more commanding, because sometimes, especially when you lean in a lot, it just, yeah, flops whichever way is the path of least resistance. So again, I edited a bit out. I just drove up the cliff. I'm basically doing a shortcut. I'm just inventing my own way, and this is as fast, or slow should I say, as you can go. So I cut through the garden of that house, and now I'm basically on the long main road. You can see telegraph poles dotted all the way along. Again, I'm going to edit it out because I edit about 6 minutes out now just driving down this road at this speed or slower. Finally got to here. The Loaf is literally 10 feet behind me. I just disconnected it for the last bit because it's basically a dead end up here anyway, so there's no point in towing the Loaf in here just to turn around and tow it back again. Thankfully there is actually some trees and lampposts that are telegraph poles that I can reach. But yeah, this is the second suspension. This is the active suspension. Like I say, you can go into your menu where you click recover and refuel and everything and like activate the suspension, raise it up and down. Personally, I think it's a little bit of a gimmick, but I'm still going to test it out more. I'm not 100% on that yet. But anyway, that's about it for today though. I hope you've enjoyed, I hope that helps. Thanks for watching, enjoy your Warthog, and I'll be back soon.